Hi, so I did my place-based lesson plan on buildings and shapes, and it was pulled from the examples of place-based activities on K-State campus that you provided us. I thought it was a great activity to do, so I went ahead and did a lesson plan on it. I connected it to I did it for kindergarten, and so I did it on Place as an Institution in my city. For standards, I connected it to KGI or KG1 math standard, which is describe objects in the environment using names of shapes and describe the relative positions of these objects using terms such as above, below, beside, in front of, behind, and next to. The ELA standard that I connected it to was RIK3, which is with prompting and support, describe the connection between two individuals, events, ideas, or pieces of information in a text. For the objectives, for social studies, I said students will come into contact or experience and explore part of their city that they may have not encountered before. So K-State's a huge part of Manhattan. However, not a lot of kids, they just drive by it and they don't really see what's up in Manhattan until they have a field trip or unless their parents work on campus. So Manhattan's a huge part of, or K-State's a huge part of Manhattan, so I thought it would be important to learn about it a little bit. For math objectives, students will be able to make connections to real-world examples of shapes and how they can be used in everyday life. So I wanted students to be able to look at buildings and look at signs, the way that the sidewalk is set up, and look and see the shapes in them and think about why builders may have used those specific shapes. For assessments, I'll have students will be carrying around like a notebook around campus, and they can write down the shapes that they see, or they can draw. Since they're in kindergarten, they'll probably draw the shapes that they can see. So I'll make sure that that's going to be something that's informal, just looking and seeing what if they're taking notes. But from those notes, they will have a formal assessment, and that will be to write like a short story. It could be like 2 to 3 sentences, and write about what they experienced and incorporate a shape that they saw into that experience, and then they'll draw a picture. Students will also think, pair, share during the field trip, and discuss ideas on the shapes of the buildings, and discuss how many different types of shapes they see. That's more of an informal assessment. I just want to see what the kids are thinking, have some discussions as we're walking around campus. I think that this field trip and lesson would contribute to the goals of social studies and education, because for kindergartners, they're learning about their place in the world, whether it be locally, statewide, and how that affects them. And so, like I said earlier, K-State's a huge part of Manhattan, and so seeing a little bit more of Manhattan and how K-State can affect Manhattan, I think is very important. And it's a big part of history. Manhattan is big because of K-State and all the development that has happened because of K-State. So just bringing that to their attention and giving them this experience, I think meets those goals. From this lesson, I've learned kind of how to do a kindergarten level lesson. I really haven't made a lot of lessons for the lower elementary. I'm more comfortable making lessons for upper elementary, just because I think more along those lines. It's harder for me to simplify something down and really look into what lower elementary is learning. Like I have an understanding of what they're learning. It's just making lesson plans for them is hard because I don't want to make it too simple. However, with this place-based lesson, I find that it's okay to be simple and give them time to experience their surroundings. I think that's a really great way to learn, experiencing something for yourself, and being able to see it and feel it. It can have a lasting effect on what they're learning and make shapes real for them instead of just an abstract concept on paper. They can start seeing shapes out in the world around them.